Hello and welcome to Herein Lies the Peace of God in the Awakening Together Sanctuary. The Awakening Together Sanctuary is an assembly of equals joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Then in an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. The host of Herein Lies the Peace of God is Reverend Jacquelyn and Glen, the President Minister of Awakening Together. Our co-host is your favorite anarchist preacher, Reverend Glen Ganaway, integral scholar. The Course in Miracles says this about discerning one truth. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Sing glory, glory, hallelujah. How wonderful thy holy name. Now I can see with God's own vision, and I see peace instead of pain. Yes, I see peace instead of pain. I can see peace instead of pain. Amen.
You do it.
We doggies.
Thank you. I think we're there. How are you this evening, Jacquelyn?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, very good. I'm high coming off of the 5 laws of chaos. So talking about,
I'm sorry I missed that.
talking about that. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. It ends with the substitute for love, which is kind of what the New Testament is all about: finding out who you are, and that journey, the journey to love, which is a title that's already taken, I think. The return to love. That's Marianne Williamson, if I'm not mistaken. So tell us what we're doing.
Well, we are here for Herein Lies the Peace of God, as we just heard in our intro, and we're looking at in this program we're looking at the Holy Spirit's the keys to the Holy Spirit's interpretation to the New Testament of the New Testament. That's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
And the keys includes what does it include? It includes Luke, Galatians, Acts, and Revelation.
Yeah.
And we're looking at Luke chapter 7.
I think
8.
7 last week, right?
7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Schlemiel.
Shemazel. I know. How old are we?
Very. We are looking at chapter 8 tonight, and I'm excited about it. It's a good chapter.
It is. So you read last time. We've kind of switched it up a little bit. What do you say? I do chapter 8. We can see what happens.
I think that's a great idea.
All right. I'll read chapter 8. You are looking at yourself now, and seeing what you believe is your unworthiness. As you compare yourself to others, you note that you're not good enough. You do not give enough or practice enough. In your own judgment, you're never enough. Let's review what I've asked of you. I have asked that you trust that you are worthy. I have asked you to let your sickness rest. I have promised that we would look at your sickness together, and I have asked you to nurse your willingness with gratitude. Now is time for gratitude and rest. Be grateful that you have been willing to bring your sickness to me. Rest as we look at your sickness together, for we cannot be healed if it is hidden from healing. For it cannot be healed if it is hidden from healing. Focus on your gratitude. Let the guilt and hatred and anger rise. Remember that you're being healed even now. Do not nurse your sickness. Let it come up, but choose to nurse your willingness to be healed. Let all things serve the purpose of healing. Do not avoid healing because you do not want to look at the pain of sickness. We must look at it together if you want it to be healed. Do not be afraid. I'm with you, even now. Stay with the process. Be the good soil that produces a crop. I've told you already that this is the course of looking within. And yet, your mind wanders to the world as the source of guilt. Nothing within the world is the source of guilt. Not even what you do within the world can be a source of guilt for you. The outer is a reflection of the inner. Because all that you see and experience through the filter of your mind. If you believe that you see or experience guilt, the judgment of guilt must already be in your mind. So the part of your healing process is to let loose the judgment that you have already put upon yourself. What comes first is first, but what comes first is changed, and all that must change also. There is only one will, and that is God's will. The storm that is raging within your mind, it rages there because you're asleep. If you were to awake to the will of God, your one true will, you would perceive no storm, for there is none. This is the reason you will learn together. Trust me as your teacher, and I will show you that you are at peace. The storm that rages in your mind is like a cloud cover, hiding the peaceful mind behind it. But the peace is within you also, and peace is your natural state. Our purpose is to blow away the clouds so that they disperse, and the naturalness that is within us, what is left and is seen and is witnessed. There is a thought within your mind that says the healing that I speak of is impossible and it cannot be accomplished. That's because there's also the thought in your mind that believes that the cloud cover is all that you are, and it does not see how all that you are can be made perfect. This is the thought that I've told you about. This is the thought that you are inherently unworthy. This is the thought that focuses on the cloud cover as all there is and does not realize that you are the infinite blue sky that rests beyond the clouds. To realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds is wrong. It's a mistaken thought. Yet, as a thought, you can believe, yet it is a thought that you believe. In order to discover for yourself that this thought is totally false, you must be willing to look beyond the clouds with me. You must be willing to take your eyes off what you believe is true, and in faith, look with me beyond that limit. To stop at the limit will not show you what's beyond it. You do not know what is true, but you can take my hand in faith and walk with me to know what I know. In coming with me and seeing beyond the clouds, you shall realize that truth has always been true, and peace has reigned unchallenged while you merely look away for a little while. Very beautiful.
Yes,
Quite
indeed.
yeah. Beautiful. You know, the idea of the image she leaves us with is literally walking into the sunset with
You gotta love that.
the hand in hand into this. I mean, it's beautiful. What have you got? It's lovely. I enjoyed working with this week. I really did.
Yeah, it's a really helpful chapter. We often talk here about the I am bad belief, and this is an explanation, of course, of that belief. That belief is just so strong and apparently inherent in this experience that we're having, in this human experience that we're having, that it's helpful to address it just head on here. You're looking at yourself now and seeing what you believe is your unworthiness. And I like the way it's put there, because it's not because you think you're looking at a fact. And that says it well. You're seeing what you believe is your unworthiness. Yeah. And
Continues that continues to inform, to be a new thought for me. I'm seeing only my beliefs continually teaches me. You know.
well, and that's exactly what's being said here. You're only seeing where you're placing your attention. Here on page 143 at the end of verse 25, it says, trust in me as your teacher. I will show you that you are at peace, right? There seems to be a storm raging, but you're actually at peace. You're not bad, is what this is saying. You're not bad. You're merely placing your believing attention on what you think you see, evidence of your badness, right? And that's and as you do that, that's the world that you create. On back on page 142, it says, I've already told you that this is a course of looking within, and yet your mind wanders to the world as the source of guilt. Nothing within the world is a source of guilt. Not even what you do within the world can be a source of guilt for you. The only source of guilt is your thought. The thought that you could be guilty. Nothing that you do in the world can make you guilty. And the thing is what we go, yeah, I'm sure that's true for Regina and all these other people that read this book before me.
Y'all.
But here's my proof. Here's my, I got it in writing, right? Here's all my proof. And that's what this is saying. It's like, no, quit looking at the world. I've already told you. I have already told you this is a course of looking within. It couldn't be any clearer. You are looking at your thoughts, and that's all you're looking at. The outer, it says the outer is a reflection of the inner, because all that you see and experience through the filter of your mind. You see and experience the world through the filter of, I am bad, I'm guilty. So what are you going to see in that loop, in that feedback loop that we talk about all the time?
Only ever proving it. You're only ever proving it. You're only creating the balls of your own mind. Right.
And anybody you interact with, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but anybody you interact with, they're just gonna they're just gonna reflect back to you what you believe. It's just that simple. Let me back up here for a minute. I love that also. So this chapter seems to introduce, and maybe it's come before. Maybe it was in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Oh, wait, this is Luke. Maybe it was in Matthew or Mark. But this seems to introduce two things: the I am bad belief, and rest, accept, and trust. And I love that at the top of page 142, it says, okay, so in your judgment, you never know. But let's review what I've asked of you. I've asked you to trust that you are worthy. I've asked you to let your sickness rest. I've promised you we would look at your sickness together, and I've asked you to nurse your willingness with gratitude. Well, folks, this is what we call rest, accept, and trust. It says, now's the time for gratitude and rest. Be grateful that you've been willing to bring your sickness to me. Rest as we look at your sickness together. For it cannot be healed if it is hidden from healing. So right there is rest and accept in that one paragraph, because it's like, first of all, well, it also says focus on your gratitude. Let the guilt and hatred and anger rise. Remember that you're being healed even now. Do not nurse your sickness. Let it come up. But choose to nurse your willingness to be healed. So that's the whole of it, right? It's like, do not nurse your sickness means you got to rest that story. You got to rest the story that says you're guilty. You have got to rest the story that says you're guilty. You know that one that plays all the time, like 24 hours a day? You have to rest the story that says you're guilty. And not to rest it is to nurse it, is to feed it, right? Is to make it grow. So you've got to rest that story, even though you believe it. That's the hard part. This isn't talking to like just Regina or just the good people. Right? right? This is
I need help, which is why I lean on my community. It's like, I'm trying to change, that I want, help me be responsible, right? Help me, like when I start trash talking my own intellect, or when I start trash talking my own life and things like that, step in, help me catch me, be my,
Right.
be my friend, I'll help you, remind you that you're great if you'll help me, remind me that I'm great when I'm not thinking, when I can't see it, That's the community. That's what this is. Because whenever I can't see it, I'm going to have to rely on God to see it for me.
Yeah,
You're going to have to be God.
Say that it says whoever's the sanest, more sane at the time, right?
Yeah.
And the sane one is the one that knows nothing that I do or have done or could do in the world could make me guilty. That's impossible.
Yeah. Well, that was the laws of chaos. He goes, you've done this thing, and God's hands are tied. Suffering is on the way.
That's awful. But that's the way we see it, right?
You deserve it. I mean, you did the thing, so here comes the whack. Take it. It's good for you.
So let me talk for a minute more about this rest, accept, and trust here in these first few paragraphs on page 142. So again, it says, don't nurse your sickness. Do not nurse your sickness. That's resting. That's resting the story. Let it come up and choose to nurse your willingness to be healed. That's accepting it and trusting it. Nurse your willingness to be healed, right? Do not avoid healing because you do not want to look at the pain of sickness. Accept it. We must look at it together if you're to be healed. Do not be afraid. I'm with you even now. Stay with the process. And so it's just, we pay homage to some of these things, but I don't know that we actually do them.
Yep.
We feel guilty, and we do whatever we do. We self-medicate, we distract ourselves, we do what we do, but we don't actually do the practices. Rest, accept, and trust. And you've got to look right at it. And how often has Regina shown us the passage from A Course in Miracles, the 2 evaluations, right? Do what you have to do where you can see that you're wrong about this. And it says that where does it say it? Here it is on page 143. Let's see. There's a thought in your mind that believes the cloud cover, the guilt, the badness is all that you are. And it does not see how all that you are can be made perfect. There's no way we're going to make this bad. We can't whitewash this, right? Can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. It's not going to happen. That is the thought. The I am, what says right here, this is the thought that you're inherently unworthy, the I am bad belief. This is a thought that focuses on the cloud cover as all there is, and it does not realize that you are the infinite blue sky that rests behind the clouds. To realize your truth, this is the key here. This is what we don't do. To realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds, that you are the badness, you must have faith that thought is wrong. It is a mistaken thought. That's all. And that's where the rubber hits the road. That's what seems difficult to do. And that's why it says back here on page 142, what comes first is first. But when what comes first is changed, all that follows must change also. So if I'm seeing through this filter, barely discerning through this filter, right? That's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like I'm bad. I deserve to be punished. I've got to defend myself against you. Since I'm not guaranteed that things are going to go my way, I've got to scramble to make them go my way. I mean, it's the whole source of separation, right? This I am bad belief, and you're going to continue to have the experience of being bad and all the results that brings, as long as you continue to believe this thought. And we do, and we do, and we do. And so if we don't do anything else, this is the thought that we need to let go of. And I think that's just really clear in this paragraph. It says, yet it is a thought that you believe. In order to discover for yourself that this thought is totally false, you must be willing to look beyond the clouds with me. You must be willing to take your eyes off of what you believe is true.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look right at it and go, yeah, that's not true. I've been told. That's the whole point of that 2 evaluations thing, right? You're going to continue to believe you're a piece of shit, or are you going to go, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe all this stuff I've read here, all this stuff I've read in the Course of Miracles, maybe that's what's true. And I've just been believing this bullshit thought. You must be willing to take your eyes off of what you believe is true, and in faith, look with me beyond that limit. That's it. That's my.
I'm sticking to it, right? Well, it's fun. She starts out the chapter. Chapter 8 here with the parable of the sower, which is why we get that kind of language at the very, very, very beginning. And I don't know about you. I heard so, like I want to do. I heard so much. We're going to do this together. We're going to do this. You are not alone and friendless. You've got my hand in yours. Whether whatever you're going through, I know you think you're doing it all by yourself, and you're totally alone and friendless. You can't do this, and you don't know what to do, and you do believe it sucks to be you. That was that's the second law of chaos. It's just a fact. And the way of beginning this thing is like, you can do this. You know why? Because we're going to do it. We're going to do it. You don't have to rely on just your strength. You aren't doing it. You're in the way. So this idea to get cleans and to fix something and is like this moving away from. I know. It's okay. I know you don't know how the world works, but I don't want to fix what you think is wrong. If we fix what you think is wrong, it's going to ruin you, right? Because you don't want the chaos. You don't want the solution you're asking for or believe in is actually more pain and suffering. And while we whine on the floor that we can't have it our way, or we don't understand it, or it shouldn't be this way, or all those things, and Luke seems to be saying, I know. And that is an obstacle to us looking at this straight on. Because isn't that the biggest thing? I don't know about you, but the biggest obstacles in my own life is my willingness to look at what I really, really don't like about myself. The hardest thing I've ever done is to really be honest about my own thoughts, my own desires, my own experience, my own stuff. That's been the most healing thing, is to be able to actually not shy away from who I am. You know why? Because you find out that all that belief in everything that hurt you is a lie. And the relief that comes after that is undescribable. And continues to be undescribable. That is what all this is really trying to say. You can do this. There's a life beyond this shitty little person you think you are. I heard that so loud and clear in Luke. I really do. The parable of the sower reminds us that my actions and my deeds actually shape my experience. My beliefs is the loop of experience. My beliefs are shaping my experience. Rest as we look upon your sickness together, for it cannot be healed if it is hidden from healing. Focus on your gratitude. Oh, yay, I get to do this, right? I really get to be healed. That there's promising, isn't that something I think to be excited about? You're promising me healing. Even if I'm the most selfish, whatever thing, I'm going to say, okay, even in this transactional first step of this relationship, I want to feel better. So I'm going to look and try to take the actions in the direction of where you say, and then I change my mind. And I'm not doing it to feel better. I'm doing it because it is who I am. It's another beautiful bait and switch that she talks directly to you're going to feel better, but you're also, because you're going to be encountering the truth, and that always feels better. So it's actually moving in the direction and even satisfying what you think is only satisfied in this other way, or we think is satisfied in some other way, by holding control over another person or having this asset or that asset. We think it'll feel good when I'm able to do, when I get married, or when I do the thing.
Or even Glenn, when I fix my personality, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that's not true either. I mean, and that's of course the importance of the paragraph that says nothing you do in the world can make you guilty. So fixing yourself up so that you're, now I'm generous, and instead of being selfish, is not where it's at either. What's being said here is no, that's not you at all. We're not even talking about, we're talking apples and oranges.
I know. He goes, I can't fix you because you're not broken. The request is always, I want to feel, and when we're young and beginning on this path, is I just want to feel better. I just don't want, I want my life to get better. I just don't want to feel this way. And that's enough. I'll do this with you. Come, grab my hand, take my hand. We'll start where you are, and we'll move in the direction of your understanding, and you can go as kind of as fast as you want. And then she talks about hiding yourself from other people. It's like not sharing yourself with the world. And I was like if nobody knows you, I would say you're probably pretty mean, because you're stealing yourself from the world for being known, right? Share yourself with others. The lamp, this is the hide it under a bushel. Don't do that to yourself. This is how we are. This is the project. Come on, machine. Here we go. So the outer is a reflection of the inner. So part of our healing process is to let loose the judgment you have already put upon yourself. What comes first is first, but what comes first, but what if what comes first changes, all that must change too. It's again, that simple reminder is you don't have to change the world. If you want the world differently, and that's your project, you're in for a world of suffering. Change what you believe. Change what I believe and what I do, and my experiences will change. What I'm really after is I want my experience of the truth to be different. It's what I'm doing this for. I don't need the world to change. I need to understand and be able to see I need to see the world as it is. It's this understanding of an attitude that we can have toward the world, in which we're not broken and the world is not broken. And I can and so it's safe to share myself with the world. Page 143, the storm is raging in your mind, and I will show you that you are the peace. That's a reliable personality. That's like, how old was I before I really began to trust myself? So what is my relationship with self-trust in my own? Because I have more self-trust today than I ever have. I mean, I trust the voice that likes me. I have a very clear. I think, I don't want to say I have a handle on an ego, but I generally don't suffer the opinions of my ego very well, for a very long time at all. I don't suffer or entertain unreality for a very long time. Not saying that I don't experience it, but I don't entertain it and give it attention. Like, why do you want to prove this is true? What messengers am I sending out into the world? That's what it's good. The storm that is raging in my mind, and that peace is my natural state, just so I don't have to create it. It's not peace isn't here as a result of my efforting, right? I'm not doing it. I'm not responsible for it. I'm not earning it. I'm not delivering it. I'm not setting the conditions for it. I'm setting the conditions for my ability to encounter it, to experience it. I'm doing all the things, and I'm blaming you, and I'm blaming her, and I'm saying it's just not my nature to be happy. You know, I'm a miserable person. Have you met me? I'm awful. You know, I've never said a kind word to a person in my whole entire life. You know, we would not let other people talk to ourselves the way we talk to ourselves. We would not let somebody else treat us the way we treat ourselves, or even let ourselves like entertain that kind of self-talk. I really don't believe that. But I loved this. I really did like this chapter, because it's like your healing is inevitable if you're willing to work on it, and will even go at a pace that you can keep up. If you're willing to just keep doing to keep looking toward us, our relationship, to keep looking toward and being there. That's the relationship with the truth. As I become an observer of truth and change my opinion about being outside of truth to doing this, and I am now the truth that's looking out on the world, rather than me that's looking at the truth, wondering why it's not satisfactory. So that's chapter 8, what I liked. I'd love to hear what the room is thinking about.
Yeah.
Because we've got some brilliant people in the room, I see.
We do. Cindy raised her hand. Go ahead, Cindy.
Well, I'm going to try to do this without crying, because it's becoming harder and harder for me to believe that Cindy has anything to do with anything. And I really am. I'm close to tears, and it's because I'm getting ready to lead a gathering next Sunday. I won't show up on Saturday, and I've chosen Second Thessalonians, which is 4 pages designed only to remove the I am bad belief. And I've been sitting in there, and there's just 2 passages I want to read that feel like they came directly out of Luke chapter 8. Except that I've been sitting here in guilt that I've been trying not to call that, because I'm not currently calling my daughter's in Kentucky now, closer to my friends here than to me, and she's all stressed about tomorrow. And I've made this decision not to call her today because I have fear inside of me about her day tomorrow, and this teaching tells me to never act from fear. So my calling her to say, hey, I love you, have a great day tomorrow, doesn't serve truth. But it's creating a crazy amount of interesting disturbance, because what good mother wouldn't call their daughter right before they, so it's a weird dynamic. So NCI Second Thessalonians, just 2 paragraphs I'm going to read. The first one says, I have told you that you see the world through the filter of your mind. This filter through which you see is your own judgment and belief about you. As this filter is changed, all that you see is changed, because the lens through which you see is made new. The secret to awakening is to awaken to you, is to accept the blaze within as you. Right around there, it reminds me that I am the vessel through which God's love flows into the world. But then there's this one, peace is always within you, as I am in you and I am you. Rest within the gentle knowledge of this as you follow the restful work of ridding yourself of the false. What you see cannot disturb your peace, because your peace cannot be disturbed. So look within, remembering what it is that you do. You have my blessing as I am joined with you. So I sit here, and all day, I'm working and stuff. All day, I am very consciously not calling my daughter.
Aww.
And not just because the Buffalo Bills lost, which is going to freak her out. Not just because she has no money in the bank and she's in Kentucky and she's about to step into her very first real job tomorrow. Not just because every time I ask her how she's doing, somehow that triggers her. I don't know. I'm choosing to know that I am innocent, that I am peace, And this desire to act in the world from a place of fear is what I'm being invited in Luke chapter 8 and 2 Thessalonians NTI. It's inviting me to come here and hang with you instead of acting in the world to make this inside guilt feeling feel better. So doing my best to do the work. That's my share.
And it shows.
Lovely. Thank you, Cindy.
Chapter 8 has a, whether anybody's familiar with what is being the interpretation, the stories. Jesus raises a couple of dead people. Jesus raises a dead girl that everybody thinks is dead, and he sees that she's not dead. He goes, everybody sees you,
right?
Everybody sees you as dead, and the Holy Spirit is like, you're not dead. Even if you think you're not dead, I see reality, and you're not. I can see, and the other one was the demon possessed man. It goes into and goes. He convinces the demon possessed man, to go into like the pigs. That's the metaphor in chapter 8. It's like all those. How many different people have we tried to be in our whole life, in our lives? Not probably many. I don't know about you, but I've tried to be. I got to move a lot when I was a kid. I moved like every 9 months to 2 years of my life because my dad's in the Navy. So I had the opportunity to like reinvent myself all the time.
Yeah.
So, and even every time you change jobs, every time you like meet somebody new or you go out like on Friday night, that's why a lot of people like like going out on Fridays and Saturdays. They're a new person. They get to try on like a new. So I hear this demon story a little bit differently today than I'd heard it when I was like some time ago. And this healing that the NTI is speaking directly to. You're not all these million different people. You aren't all these voices in your head. You aren't even the desire to get even, or the desire to get laid, or the desire to win. All those are demons. That are in that I could. Cindy wants to.
So I just have to say this out loud because I'm freaking out again. The title of my homily on Saturday is calling the demon to meet your gaze. The first song is The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And
of course it is.
Another paragraph from 2 Thessalonians. Sit quietly with your faith placed by your motive. Remember while you do this thing that you do, you are ready to look directly at your judgment and no, not that. Be willing to rest in the confidence of your faith as you call the demon within to meet your gaze.
Mm-hmm. I am not afraid of you, right, Cindy?
I was just watching Father Stu, and I'm just like listening to this priest say to Mike Walburn, while he's still just hanging out in the Catholic Church thinking he's going to get laid. He said, what if God is the greatest programmer in the world, greater than anything you've ever learned? And that's what this is kind of reminding me of. It's like we have all these surface demons, but they literally have no place. The moment we recognize who we are, we can just call them out. But I'm freaking out because I just came here because I love you guys and I love NTI, and you're now teaching at a time period that I am used to coming to learn. So
glad you're here.
Thank you, Cindy. And Sana had her hand up. Sana.
Yeah, and this morning, I don't know if you were in the sanctuary, but I played a song by Fia that was about, she talked about the demons in your head.
Oh, yeah.
And the antidote is to love them.
Sweet.
So that's been coming up a lot today. Good.
I think, we talk about the practicality of these teachings. I frankly am shocked. I mean, how many years have I been doing this? You know what, 40 years?
Yeah.
Shut up, Tony, quit laughing. Since 1982, something like that, 83, 84, something. All these years. Wow, my experience is dramatically different than it once was. The I am bad belief is still here.
Yeah.
It's still alive and well. I know this. Like I say, I mean, it's not the same one that it was last year, or certainly not the same one it was 40 years ago. It's the same belief. It's not as robust as it was once was, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And it colors my world. There's a song for you. It really does. I mean, I just think that it's shocking that this belief can be so strongly held that I can be told again and again and again, this is just a mistaken belief. This is just a mistaken belief. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, it is. And boy, am I right back at it, you know.
And
worshiping at its feet, or whatever it is that I do unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this is part of you have to bring it out into the light. What is hidden, if it's hidden, it can't be healed.
And I'm not afraid for you to see it.
Sickness together, for it cannot be healed if it's hidden from healing. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, what you just said, if it's hidden from healing. No, I am going to choose to believe that this is a safe space to let go of my guards or my outward focus to be inward focused, so I can look at directly in situ what's happening versus, you know, that's all that we'll do.
And that's God knows that's the first step, right? I mean, recognizing that it's a course of looking within. That's the first step. And yet for me, and I don't know about for the rest of you, I know for me, this belief is so persistent, so tenacious. It's shocking. It is shocking. I mean, you know, I'd be happy to just like lean up there and let you smack it out of me.
Right.
Stop thinking that.
Right.
Right. I mean, whatever it took, I would happily submit myself to that.
Yeah, I would accept the punishment if punishment actually cured.
Cure it.
Right, that's the second law of chaos.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
No problem. No, you're just, I mean, that's the, you know, that's, I'm saying it because I just did it. So it was like, yes.
So the question has to be, okay, how do I let this belief be healed? And remember, I don't heal anything.
Right.
I let it be healed. And so I have to let it come up. So is that where the problem? So I have to start to look at this and dissect it or deconstruct it and say, where is it that it's, you know, that I'm missing the mark, that I'm not allowing this belief to be healed? And letting it come up for healing is part of it. I think that's directly related to the self-righteousness I was talking about, and which is that need to be right. Oh, I'm not bad. I'm right. No, everything's I got it.
I can prove it.
I have it together, but I got it together.
And I got the book that says I'm right. And I can...
Right, exactly, right. I think I said something like that to Connie right before we left lunch this afternoon. I am never confused, or rarely confused. I was only teasing, but I mean, I think that there's something going on. So I think that the step that might be being missed with me is letting it come up. I think it's the repression. No, I got this. I'm cool. So anyway, I want to look further at that. Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate what you were sharing, Jacquelyn, about doing this work for, you know, a period of time and still having to recognize the tenacity with which that belief is in there. And it can be discouraging, right? I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why NTI and Luke is so beautiful to go back to, is because it's so loving about that. And it's just so clear that, yes, it's going to be here. It's going to come back. But that is your healing, is for it to show up. Right. And I think that is a turning point for me and still kind of a real aha moment when I'm going through challenges in my life that are stirring stuff up. And I judge myself that I shouldn't be still going through this stuff, instead of going, oh my God, how beautiful is that? That this is still coming up, right? I really have a hard time cultivating that view. And I think that what you were hitting on is allowing it to come up is the challenge, and everything I do is directed to controlling that from happening, if that makes any sense. I mean, that's what, that's the hustle and the busyness of my life, is if I do all this stuff out here, I certainly don't consciously go, I'll keep my healing from me, but that's what's happening, right? In that need to control stuff. And so I'll cultivate once again, how beautiful is it that it can still come up, and there are days when I feel like, what am I even doing here? And just all that junk, that I'm a fool or whatever, however it comes up. So anyway, I appreciate that. I always appreciate anything that helps me see that, oh my God, if I'm in pain, not masochistically, but if I'm in pain, it's an opportunity to heal. That's all. That's all it is. It's not a punishment.
Let me see how this maybe lands with you, Kelly, because I'd love to have your a perspective on this. For me, I get that the feeling that you're speaking of, like my desire not to be known. Like I don't want you to know me. Like I don't want to share myself. I don't want to be vulnerable. Because for me it's a real, that sense of not doing it as a safety sort of. I'm not safe if you knew about me. So that, I mean, how does that, do you relate to that at all? I don't want to share myself with you, that idea of like being vulnerable with others.
Oh, absolutely. But there's also just the piece when I'm sitting alone by myself and it comes up. I mean, just needing to just allow the discomfort instead of trying to fix it in that moment.
Yeah.
Where that is.
Yeah. Allowing the discomfort. That's a practice, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Fine.
I'm noticing that for me, it feels like this I am bad belief and all the flavors, it's got different flavors. It feels like the backbone of the ego itself. So like it's what's supporting it. And the ego itself is just a thought. Okay. It's the thought of separation. And there is a way that we are so familiar. I know I say we, but forgive me because words. But when I see the world through that lens that I'm so used to, and it's so practiced, it's ingrained to see the world separate, like you're over there, I'm over here, I'm here, the tree's over there, that kind of just the way we see things other. And it feels like whenever we get these glimpses of oneness, it's like all it takes is the littlest judgment, even judging ourselves, something so seemingly innocent. Like I had a moment at a birthday party yesterday when this kid just took a balloon I wasn't expecting. It was so full of water and crashed it at my feet unexpectedly. And I called him a terror. I said, you little terror. So, and it was a moment, it was like, well, there you go. And did I feel connected to him in that moment? No, I did not. And so what I see is this I am bad belief fortifies and strengthens the ego, which strengthens the thought of separation, because that's a way of seeing the world. And it is so radically different when I see the world through the lens of oneness. It is so radically different. There is, when those glimpses have happened, there's no feeling of separation.
Can I ask you how you pull from one place to another? How you pull from one place to get from the feeling of separation to the feeling of oneness? How you do that for yourself when you catch yourself?
It is as simple as a judgment. It's a thought away, which breeds contraction in the heart, usually the gut, the throat, the jaw. There is some kind of contraction in the body, and it's almost instantaneous. And it can happen in a flash from you.
Yeah, but he's
like
asking how you come back.
Oh, how do I come back?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to give my secrets away, do you?
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
We've all been there, right? We've all been there. Just like you're
Yes, you
you're down, you're on it. You're like you're on a tear
You're
or whatever.
all-
Like
you're all-
you've
I
been
know,
triggered.
us in
You're
this
already on the
community.
path away from where. How do you go back?
It's easier if I close my eyes, get quiet, tap into the heart area, go within. Images, believe it or not, are helpful for me. Ramana Maharshi's face, Paramhansa Yogananda's face, or any of the gurus in that lineage. A mantra, I am Shiva, I am Shakti, I am Shakti, I am Shiva, I am Satya Ananda, and I can just boom, because I know what that is like when I'm tapped in, tuned in, and it's on. But usually it's meditation. It's getting quiet, it's going within, it's that knowingness. And the newest thing that I'm practicing is what I learned from Rupert Spira, where he says, okay, when the meditate, because this is how I was messing myself up, is when I would get up from the meditation thinking, oh, the meditation's over. Like my eyes are open now. I'm not on the cushion, so the meditation is over. Rupert Spira says you are the meditation. So when you get up off that cushion, the meditation does not stop.
Yeah.
So as long as you keep that in the forefront of your awareness and remember, and that helps me to cultivate that oneness and stay in abidance. And but yeah, usually it's some kind of frustrating thing will happen and it'll knock me out of it. Like earlier, I dropped my phone into the sink, but luckily on that side, there was no water. But it was not pretty for a whole minute. I was like, oh no! It was kind of like that nightmare thing that happened with Rev Beverly, but not quite. Mine was with water, not microwave. Okay, go for it.
Yeah. I hear you, son. But I want to say that that's the answer that is given here in this chapter. It's the rest, accept, and trust, right? So turn away from the story. That's the first part. Rest. You got to rest that story. That's the to realize your truth, you must have faith that the thought that you are the clouds is wrong. It's a mistaken thought. That's the rest part, right? And just be with it. Being with it with inner wisdom is the accept part. It's not distract yourself from it, go smoke a cigarette, whatever, whatever self-medication that's not it. Right? So it's really just rest the story and be with it in faith that you're wrong. And be with it can be just exactly like Sana said, can be, whether you're doing visualizations or a mantra or meditation, or, Regina talks about self-talk. It's okay. It's just a thought. I take that thought back. I mean, there are these techniques to be with it without like repressing it or denying it. And I think that's the answer that's being pointed to here. Oh, you're muted, my dear.
There we go. The only cap I would make on it is like what Sina and others have mentioned, is just how gentle this all is, and that we're a lot more capable. And the translation, or this has a lot more faith in us and our ability and our natural stuff than maybe even we do.
Oh yeah.
So don't worry. This personality you're so worried about winning and all this other stuff isn't. You don't have to worry about any of that. Demonstrate and practice who you are, And who you aren't, well, you'll never have to worry about. You know, I love that idea. So what do you call that, or what do you call this, a chapter 8? Shall we put a bow on chapter 8?
Put a bow on chapter 8. You want to play our little outro?
I do.
You've been listening to Herein Lies the Peace of God with Reverend Jacquelyn Eckert and Reverend Glen Ganaway. To find out more about Jacquelyn and to donate to Awakening Together Sanctuary, go to www.awakening-together.org. To find out more about Glen and to donate to the Mighty Companions Ministries, go to www.glenganaway.com. That's GLENGANAWAY.com.
I can see peace instead of pain.
Thank you, everybody. Been wonderful.
Thanks, everybody. It was great. Thank you for all your shares. They were brilliant.